Welcome back to another episode of Full Retard. Today we have more entitled parent stories for you. First up, entitled parent serves for lunch his daughter's pet because it was noisy by FAKO 5045. This story is about my landlord when I was living in a boarding house. He had a 6-year-old daughter who I will call Chrissy. During my stay in the house, Chrissy rescued from a nearby park the ungodly offspring of a rooster, a duck, and maybe a velociraptor. Okay, he was actually a baby wild goose, but believe me when I tell you, he was the most horrible bird you could imagine, and got even uglier when he grew up. It's also important that every day at 6 a.m. you could hear his singing in all of the building, which was more like the agonizing screams of an old tuba. While a little bit bothersome, most of the neighbors didn't care about it, since most of us had to actually be awake at that hour, even the small children. Goosey became our alarm clock, and we all knew Chrissy loved the heinous creature with all her heart. She had Goosey for about 5 months, until a fateful Saturday. That week's Monday, while I was hanging with some of the other tenants in the rooftop, including the landlord, one of them said something like, "Hey landlord, I'm getting my vacations next week. Hope you can turn Goosey off before that ha 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 ha." It was obviously just a joke, but you could see our landlord's face light up at the moment. "So, you are saying the goose bothers you, 'cause I can get rid of it if you like." Wow, no need to. It was just a comment. "But you think it's too noisy?" "I guess." "And you guys, you think the same?" We all nodded timidly, not understanding what was happening. He then ran into the house without saying another word. After that day, Goosey's daily singing disappeared, and a message was hung in the main hall stating, "As per our rules, and in response to your kind observations, we have removed our daughter's pet from the building. We apologize for any inconvenience and bother it may have caused you. Sincerely, the administration." I didn't give it too much thought until Saturday came and we were all invited to a rooftop barbecue by our landlord. It was not uncommon, we did it on holidays, but it was just a normal day, so we were all surprised, and our surprise became shock when we saw the main dish. On a silver plate, there was a giant turkey, beautifully decorated and ready to be eaten. All of us put 2 and 2 together immediately, but I was the only one dumb enough to ask, "Is that Goosey?" "What? No, obviously not. It's a turkey I bought on discount. Goosey is safe in a farm in the outsides, guys. Nothing to worry about. Come on, enjoy the food." The lie was obvious and very cliche, and the taste gave it away even more. There was no way that was turkey, too juicy for it. The barbecue went normally, but we all knew the truth, and we felt bad. Chrissy was there too, but it seemed she was too young to connect the dots and was happily eating her beloved pet. I later learned from my landlord's wife, who maintained the farm story, that the only condition they gave Chrissy when she brought Goosey was that as long as he didn't bother the tenants, he could stay. Because none of us complained they were trapped with the bird monster for 5 months, but they have made a promise, and per their education strategy, they had to keep it. Nevertheless, our landlord was tired of the freaking bird, so he used my friend's random joke and our nods as an enough excuse to send Goosey to the farm, also known as Oven. I'm sorry, Goosey. I'm sorry, Chrissy, and I hope you never find out the truth. This is terrible. I cannot believe anybody would feed their child's pet to them. Oh! I think I might actually cry. Up next, A Child is Not a Slave, You Know, Karen, by Forever DMTM. Okay, story time, so strap in because this gets kind of rough for me. Background info. My name is Sam. I'm a gender fluid pansexual that leans away from most guys because of trauma issues. I live with the biggest Karen I could have unlucky enough to know, because she is unfortunately my mother. So, for the past 15 years of my life, and quite a lot of my 16th, I've been in the closet at home. None of my family knew. Only my best friend and anyone who saw my TikTok page, because the only person I know who uses it is my friend. Now, I'm pretty careful. Only use it when my entitled mother isn't home, and always delete it when she gets home, since I do online school, and as long as my work is done, she doesn't ask questions. Well, about a week ago, she uncovered my sinful ways, and demanded she got her daughter back, since apparently I turned into the most horrifying beast once she found out I'm part of the LGBTQ. Next day comes, and oh boy, dysphoria hit like a effing bus, because like most days, I was on the male side of my gender fluidity, but that's not the problem. No, she decided on this day she would make me be feminine with short shorts and everything. She took every bit of clothes I had used to feel like me, and even took a lucky hat I've had for years. Normally I would just sigh and ride out the storm, but no, not this time. I never told her I changed my name because she never really called me by my name anyway, so I didn't care. But after she did find out, oh, the heck I went through for it. I mentioned my name is Sam, right? Well, the entire day, every single person was dead naming me because she would give them my old name and give me a look that told me I'd regret correcting her. She was aggressively dead naming me on purpose and using pronouns I was not comfortable with because I am rarely full on the female side. Fast forward a few days and now she is not only aggressively coming out at me, but will literally attack anyone she might think is gay. I'm starting to go back into my depressive state and she is blaming it on me being gay. Because this was apparently just for attention and I'm just confused. Like, oh yeah, it's totally not because you made me quit my job and kept me off from all my safe places and friends. Now, we get to this week, where I had finally found something that was giving me joy again. I had been saving my money for two things, an art tablet and a decent camera. I wasn't able to get all the money for the tablet I wanted, but I had enough for the camera, so I got it. I was so excited, but then excitement turned so dread because guess who came in to run it all? My entitled mother. She has told me because I live in her house, it belongs to her. I have no rights. I can't move out unless she says I can, and she never will agree to it, even after 18, and has basically turned me into her personal servant because I have to do everything for her and be at her every call. She wants a drink. Oh, dead name. Her dog needs to be fed. Oh, dead name. She has the slightest inconvenience she could easily fix herself. You guessed it. Oh, dead name. This is the child she wanted. A walking robot that doesn't speak unless spoken to, that does as told when told, that becomes a child factory for them when of age because she wants to have so many babies, but can't because blah, 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 blah. Gets perfect grades without trying and would be a straight, little blindly God-following child. Unfortunately, she got me. An ADHD, ADD, PTSD, depression, anxiety-filled, gender-fluid, pansexual, witchcraft-practicing child that has a hard time with school because of all the extra stuff I'm doing. I can't effing take it anymore. My brother promised to get me out at 18, but I have no idea if I'm going to make it till then because of how crazy she's making me. Thank you for coming to my TED talk, and thank you to this subreddit for letting me vent about my F&B of an entitled mother. Next up, sister wants trust funds to be given to her kids because she is a single mother, by Nanda Marks. My parents died when my siblings and I were very young. Their estate was divided equally into 3 separate trusts for our education. Anything left over after graduating would be paid out when we turned 25. I watched my siblings squander theirs by failing out of college, renting needlessly expensive apartments, and getting pregnant twice. While they're doing all right now, neither had anything left in their trust by their 25th birthdays. I applied for multiple scholarships, lived with roommates, and worked through school. Even with my master's degree, I still have more than half my trust left. I turned 25 recently and have been planning to buy a house. I mentioned this to my brother, who was surprised to learn I had enough money left to do so. My sister was more than surprised. She was furious and called me to rant about the unfairness of it all. She felt cheated that her baby sister might buy a house before she did because she needed it more as a single mom. I guess I threw fuel on the fire by reminding her that we had the same opportunities but made different choices. Somehow that turned into me looking down on her kids and hating my nephews. Since then, she has roused the rest of the family against me. I owe her and my brother financial help because apparently that's what our parents would have wanted. I blocked my sister's number after she demanded I give the rest of my trust to her kids. The grandchildren our parents would have wanted. I told her it was laughable to consider that our parents would be happy about their daughter getting pregnant at 20 and dropping out of school. She called me a bee. Everything is falling apart now. I feel hunted. Last, I made the entitled server cry today by Angel E. 2015. Okay, so I'm both the host and a server. I've got a few stories about B. She's a mom and always shoves her kid's picture into my face. She's a legit child in my eyes. She has the biggest victim mentality I have seen in so long, it's absolutely ridiculous. She constantly complains about me and how I seat, and then I have favorites and I'm out to get her. Hint, hint, I'm not. I don't care who you are. I do my best to make sure everyone gets even number of tables and body count. I rotate sections and tables always for servers. We genuinely don't have a bad section besides 2 tables behind our outside bar. I put her for inside since she was outside last night. Like I said, I always rotate. She was the opener today, and 1 small, 2 tall. She is barely in this side room. It's in because she always bees about. I know it can't be amazing money because everyone else has worked it, no issues, only her. I go up front, and then my manager and her follow. She went to him to complain, again, about me. He told us he's tired of it, talk it out, and walked away. Keep in mind, I tried to talk to her a few weeks ago, and then when she didn't get the exact section she wanted, she hated me again. She blames me for all of her shortcomings and that I essentially don't care that she has kids. So does half the staff. So we got heated fast. She said everyone hates me and I'm a horrible person and I'm a B. I laughed. I told her I don't care if people hate me, but it's kind of funny considering how everyone hates her attitude and she's the only person with any complaints. And I told her to walk away from my host stand because I know how to do my job. She went crying to our general manager about it. He came and asked me, and I told him point blank what happened. We are very similar personalities, so he's like, okay, yeah, you handled it fine. And he knows I have proof of how I see it because open table records, everything. I always have 2 hosts with me anyway, so clearly someone would see if there was favoritism. He just told me don't even worry about it, and when I start serving, if she gives me any issues, just to let him know he has my back. It felt so effing good to know she's failed in trying to constantly make me look bad when I'm literally just doing my job. Sorry you can't make better tips, maybe find a different career or work at a higher end place. Because no one's in the mood for her BS. I have servers constantly coming to me to complain, and no one else has complained about me to the manager because he would have told me and I would have fixed it if I was doing something bad.